hide. The weak, the scared, the broken parts. And it means finally seeing yourself instead of blaming every woman who didn't. See, here's what Jung understood, something most men never will. You don't become a man by being chosen. You become a man by choosing yourself. You don't earn your worth through her affection. You find it by standing on your own, fully conscious, fully responsible, fully you. Because once you've stared down your own unconscious, once you've faced your shadows and survived, you stop being seduced by projections. You stop being someone's puppet. You start being the author of your own damn life. Jung once said that the greatest tragedy for modern men isn't rejection. It's their willingness to become whatever they think will get them accepted. You call it compromise. You call it love. You call it being in touch with your feelings. Jung called it something else: self-betrayal. He warned that men who ignore their inner development end up as slaves to feminine projection. You twist yourself like soft clay, reshaping your values, opinions, even your identity, just to match a woman who doesn't even know what she wants. You become a mask, a smiling, nodding, agreeable shell of a man until you forget who you were before you put the mask on. And women? Oh, they notice. They feel it. Even if they can't explain it, they sense when a man has no spine. And the very thing you think will make her love you, being agreeable, available, safe, becomes the reason she loses interest. Why? Because Jung taught that the feminine psyche isn't attracted to comfort. It's drawn to mystery, to depth, to the man she can't control or fully define. The moment you hand her the full script, let her edit it, let her direct the scene, you lose the role. Not because you're too honest, but because you became predictable. And that, to the unconscious feminine, is death. And here's where the real trap sets in. Most of you would rather be fake than be alone. You'll trade your authenticity for approval. You'll wear the mask just a little longer if it means you won't have to face the silence of solitude. But Jung taught that real freedom begins in solitude. He said that the path of individuation is not for the faint-hearted because it requires you to die before you die, to burn away every false layer, every lie you've told yourself until something true finally steps forward. But let's be honest, that path, it's lonely. Deeply, terrifyingly lonely. Because once you start to wake up, once you begin to see what others refuse to see, you can't go back. You recognize the performance, you see the illusions, you hear the lies that people tell just to keep themselves comfortable. And when you try to speak about it, when you share your truth, they'll push back hard. They'll call you cold, arrogant, unloving. It always starts the same way. She looks at you not for who you are, but for who she hopes you might become. And you feel it, don't you? That spark in her eyes. You think it's admiration, maybe even love, but take a closer look. It's not affection, it's calculation. You're not being truly seen, you're being scanned, evaluated. Sized up like a blank slate she can project her dreams onto. But here's the thing, her dream version of you, that's the masterpiece she's chasing. And it was never really you in the first place. Carl Jung saw this coming. He didn't sugarcoat it with feel-good advice or polished life hacks. No, Jung went deeper into the undercurrents of the human psyche. His entire life's work was about understanding the unconscious, the hidden part of our minds that silently drives our choices. And through that work, he uncovered something chilling, that women don't just fall for men, they fall for ideas of men, fantasies, projections. And here's the twist. Most of them don't even know they're doing it. You think she picked you, but what she's really drawn to is the character she created in her head. You're just filling in the outline, an actor stepping into a role that was written long before you showed up. And when you stop delivering your lines the way she imagined, the story doesn't change. You get replaced. Jung had a word for this: animus. It's the inner masculine archetype living inside every woman's unconscious. And when that animus is immature, undeveloped, or out of control, it doesn't bring balance. It becomes a tyrant, a force that twists her vision, makes her chase chaos, reject peace, argue without logic, dominate without compassion, and moralize without awareness. And men, you fall for it every time. Not because you're stupid, but because nobody taught you how to see it. You think being desired means being understood. You think being chosen means being valued. You hear her say, "You're not like the others," and you want to believe it. But what she's really saying is, you fit the part. For now. But when that mask slips, and it always does, you're left spinning. You didn't change. You just stopped performing the fantasy convincingly enough. And now you're confused, humiliated, wondering what went wrong. Here's the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. You just stopped being the fantasy. Jung warned that the only way out of this psychological trap is through a brutal, lifelong process he called individuation, becoming whole within yourself. And unfortunately, most men never even begin that journey because they've been trained since boyhood to chase praise, to seek validation, to define themselves by what women think of them. So what happens? You keep stepping into the same role, over and over again, hoping this time maybe it'll be different. But it never is, because you've never stepped off the stage. Individuation isn't glamorous. There are no